This is the continuation of my April 2025 trip up to Long Island for a family gathering and then back to Alexandria, Virginia. I'm opening with this clip of the Hudson River tunnels because while I included footage of the Secaucus Junction station in the previous video, I didn't show the Hudson River tunnels, which is one of the most epic parts of the Northeast regional rides up to the Moynihan Train Hall. In any case, I had to get back to the DC metro area, so this is the return trip. This installment captures the leg of my journey from Ronkonkoma to the Moynihan Train Hall. My cousin Taryn dropped me off early for my Long Island Railroad train, and I was able to poke around a little bit before departure. It was a typical day there, as there were others gathering on that cloudy late spring Sunday morning and looking to commute into New York City or to somewhere west of Ronkonkoma. As I looked around, I noticed that they were doing work on the station, as evidenced by the fencing and the construction materials on and around the platform. After a birthday celebration on Saturday evening, I had to get up somewhat early to head back to the DC metro area. When you're headed up to Long Island from DC, there are multiple trains heading out to Ronkonkoma from the Moynihan Train Hall all day long. Thus, once you arrive in Lower Manhattan, you just have to wait for the next train leaving. Going in the other direction, once you purchase your reserved Amtrak train ticket, you have to get there on time so you don't miss your train. You thus have to back calculate to see what time you need to leave Long Island to make it to the Moynihan Train Hall on time. I needed to catch an 11:30 a.m. Long Island Railroad train, which would put me in Manhattan early, with time to spare and to wait for train 97, the Silver Meteor headed to Miami, Florida. Our train approached the platform slowly and quietly until it was right upon us, and I could hear the high-pitched sound of the shiny and silver electrified units. The Long Island Railroad consists are usually 8 to 12 cars long, and so on the weekends, most everyone gets a seat. I'm sure during the week, though, they're packed, especially during rush hour. Thank you to the viewer, Saul Schlappick 6818, who helped me to understand the different models in the Long Island Railroad train sets. My set that day consisted of M9s, as evidenced by the thick vertical blue stripe behind the cab.
This is the train to Penn Station. The next station is Central Iceland.
Our train left on time, and within seconds we accelerated with the sound of a race car, that signature Long Island Railroad chime and automated messaging, and then the sounds of the commuter coaches and the tracks underneath. I put my retired railfan horn guy hat on for this trip. Those of you in the know who he is. There are many videos where he has railfanned on the Long Island Railroad lines, this line in particular, and I was looking for a specific apartment or condo building where he stopped and watched the trains on this line pass. but everything on this line moves so fast and some areas look alike. I also wanted to spot the junction where the Oyster Bay trains diverge to head north, but I'd have to stop to do this a couple of times to spot it.
This station is Wyandanch. This is the train to Penn Station. The next station is Farmingdale.
On this line, you're usually riding in the M7 or M9 units, which race up and down these rails like bullets once they reach top speeds. This is a very different ride than on the Babylon line, which uses the push and pull concept used by many other commuter rail lines. Those rides are a little more gradual and leisurely, and they have the bi-level commuter coaches.
Change to Jamaica for trains to Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn, Grand Central, and for all other destinations, including air train service to JFK Airport. We're going to be arriving on track number 2. Next train to Atlantic Terminal will be on track number 11. The 1244 train to Grand Central will be on track number 5 today. Once again, train to Grand Central will be on track 5 at 1244. Next train to Atlantic Terminal will be on track 11 at 1250. This train stops at Woodside and Penn Station. If you're traveling City Field, stay on this train till Woodside. If you are going to be exiting Jamaica, please make sure you have any tickets you might need, as well as all personal belongings you brought on board with you. Do not leave anything behind. Watch your step. There is a gap between the train and the platform. If you have children with you, please take them by the hand. Jamaica Station will be next.
I just happened to catch this sign/reminder during the trip and thought it was funny. It suggests, though, that interactions can become contentious at times between the Long Island Railroad conductors and passengers. I imagine more so during rush hour from Monday to Friday. Regardless, everyone, please remember to respect your conductors. This ride is essentially a straight line with no distinct curves or bends until you get to the trackage between Jamaica and Penn stations. There, once you leave Jamaica and enter the complex network of switch tracks, you take a nice westward curve toward the Sunnyside Yards before entering the East River tunnels. Until then, it's pretty much a straight line as the suburban and seaside municipalities give way to the expanding cityscape where the rails eventually elevate above the ground the closer you get to the 5 boroughs. I didn't remember stopping at the Woodside station before Jamaica on the way out to Ronkonkoma, but that doesn't mean that we didn't. After leaving Woodside, I could hear the hydraulics of the trucks indicating our train was on a curve of some sort. Off in the distance, alongside the big cube-shaped building with the red and blue stripe, I could see the overhead catenary and then the double tracks coming from the Hellgate Bridge coming to join up with our route. And just like that, we were underneath it all. And then the Sunnyside yards were off to the right with both Amtrak and New Jersey Transit train sets parked between trips. In an earlier video, I described the stretch of trackage between Trenton, New Jersey and Penn Station as a railroad wonderland, and the stretch of trackage heading westward toward Penn Station from Long Island could be described as the same, as it is a mixture of overhead catenary, third rails, switch tracks, subways traveling overhead, tunnels, and the Sunnyside yards. The overhead catenary eventually disappeared, and I think I know why. I think the Long Island Railroad and Northeast regional trains crisscross after departing Penn Station, so that when the Long Island Railroad trains reach the East River tunnels, the Amtrak and New Jersey Transit trains travel under the river in tunnels that are slightly more southern, which is the actual orientation on the Moynihan Train Hall concourse itself. Eventually, we descended into the tunnels, and the sounds changed as noises from our train now bounced off the walls of those confined spaces underneath the East River.
For everyone's security, please take your personal belongings when you leave the train, and please remind your fellow passengers not to leave anything behind. If you see an unattended package, please tell a railroad employee.
Just like with the Hudson River tunnels, trains entering the East River tunnels storm into them and then gradually slow as they travel underneath the river, and then slow down to a leisurely speed as they glide into the platform area before coming to a complete stop in Midtown Manhattan.
Next passage, Penn Station is the next and final stop. All passengers must exit there. Please take this time, look around, make sure you have all personal belongings before you exit the train. Do not leave anything behind. Watch your step. There's a gap between the train and the platform. If you have children with you, please take them by the hand. Penn Station will be the next and final stop. Penn Station on track 17. This is the last stop. This train will be going to the yard and take no passengers. Once again, please make sure you have all personal belongings when you exit the train. Do not leave anything behind. Watch your step. There's a gap between the train and the platform. If you have children with you, please take them by the hand. Penn Station, next final.
After arriving back at the Moynihan train hall, I had lots of time to spare. As such, I didn't go straight to the Amtrak waiting area, and I decided to wander the station a little bit, at least the Long Island Railroad portion of it, which was for the most part colored blue and white. It was beautiful. There were people coming and going, and performers performing. There were also all kinds of maps and historical diagrams about the history of the station, in addition to more restaurants. If I didn't have another train to catch, I could have hung out there the entire afternoon.
We need your support today. Come on, y'all. Like an old dusty road, I can hear you from the low. Moving on, moving on, like a side traveler. I keep rolling since my birth. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Come on, y'all. There's a place in the sun, hope for everyone. Where my boy with this heart gotta run. There's a place in the sun before my life is done. Gonna find me a place in the sun. You know, when the times are bad, I want you to always remember, there's a place in the sun. There's hope for everyone. Where my boy rests his heart, gotta run. There's a place in the sun before my life is done. Gonna find me a place in the sun. Gotta find me a place in the sun. I know. Gotta find me a place in the sun. Come on, everybody. Yeah, down here, Penn Station. My name is Sammy C. David, Mr. Raymond Saunders. With this, I broke away, especially see. Hey!
Those guys were so good, I think I did tip them. While the entertainment continued in the background, I took in this beautiful arrival and departure board. I don't know if they replaced the old flickering boards throughout the station, but I was getting mesmerized by the colors of this one.
Make it so. Let's go up on the roof.
I also took in this display of maps. I love this stuff. When I was a graduate student at the University of Michigan, I took a map of the Metropolitan Transit Authority subway system, framed it, and hung it up in my apartment just to remind me of New York City and the trains coming and going every day. And this was my trip. I started off in Ronkonkoma and journeyed westward back to this beautiful place. Based upon this map, it looks like the Oyster Bay train branches off at either Mineola or Hicksville. I eventually made my way over to the Amtrak waiting area after grabbing some halal food from the street, and maybe a drink beforehand at a nice bar in the station as well. There are a lot of nice places to eat and drink in the Moynihan train hall if you have time to explore. Part 3 of this trip will follow this video, which started off in its own exciting way, so look out for it. So with that, take care and thank you for watching. And as I always say, riding in cars and on airplanes are necessary in our modern society, and riding on boats is fun. But my favorite mode of travel will always be on the trains and the railroads. Bye-bye.